Hello, guys. Okay, here I am with my notes. Hello, guys. Welcome back to this new live streaming. Long. Sorry, I'm starting 30 minutes before. Hey, Juana. I'm starting 30 minutes before usual live streaming's hour because I have so many things to say today. And look, I made 10 papers, 10, okay, back and forth. So, yeah, so many things to say. And that's why I decided to start it a little bit in advance. I think, look, we are going to make the record of these live streamings because this live streaming will be so long. So sorry in advance if you can't follow the entire process. But absolutely, I have so many things to say. First of all, I wanted to say thank you so much for the support. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Join me as much as you can because next week it will be the last episode of this first part. Let's call it like this. And let's see what's going to happen next. Of course, I will be here reacting to the second part if there will be a second part. And I will be here making lots of live streamings after watching the movies, in the case that there will be movies. Okay, I wanted to start first, even if it's written episode 15. I wanted to start analyzing the ending parts of episode 14 because, of course, they are quite important and we need them. Otherwise, we can't go on with episode 15. So, if you didn't watch my comments and thoughts, opinions and thoughts regarding episode 14, go and check it out. You can find it on the channel. Okay, I wanted to say, how can I resist? It's simple. I don't read it. It's not a problem to me because throughout all these years, I have been waiting so many years to watch the going on with each story. And sincerely, I don't need the spoilers because I know that if I read the things, I'm going to ruin all the expectations, all the excitement. So I really don't feel the need to read something that I can watch it later. I'm not that type of person who says, "Oh, look, I have to read it now, otherwise I can't handle it." No, I can wait. Okay, going back to the episode 14 at the end. Look, after watching episode 15, oh, this was something unbelievable. But after watching this, after knowing Zeke's and Eren's plan, I wanted to say one thing. Because when you watch the end of episode 14, you see Flock that is still thinking about Eren, and he's still doing things because of Eren's decisions. He wants to be saved by Eren, and at the same time, he wants that Eldia is saved by Eren. Look, I'm asking Flock, even if Flock can't answer me now, but I wanted to ask him, do you even know what their plans are? Because from what we understood, they wanted to extinguish, I mean, they wanted to end Eldia somehow. So, Flock, do you agree with this? Do you know what's going on? Do you know what are they doing? Do you agree? Because Flock is following simply Eren because he thinks that he's going to save Eldia in another way, from what I understood. And he's deeply convinced that Eren will save Eldia as he thinks, but I don't think so. Flauka, you are tricked too. And I can't wait to discover his reaction in the future when he will discover that it's not what he thought. and he can't turn back now. I mean, once he will discover Eren's real plan about this new alien empire, that is not an empire, it's just a how to end, okay, a population. I want to see Flock's reaction and see how he will handle all this, because what he did to Savis was exaggerate. And look, when especially when Flock said in front of Savis, look, I'm going to um, end this old part of this population, because Savis, of course, he taught so many generations, especially their generation. And when he says, I wanted to extinguish this old generation, because thanks to them we can't do what we really need to do. Okay, do you think that the new one, that means Eren and Zeke, are going to do something you want? Are you sure? I don't think so. Look, I can't wait to see how he will react to this. Because once it will be too late, he can't come back to what it was before. And he can't decide, okay, sorry, I was wrong. In the meantime, I killed lots of people, but okay, now I go back to what I was to what it was before. It will be impossible, right? So this is quite interesting. Okay, then let me talk to you about Savis and his behavior, because even in the comments we were guessing, we people were trying to understand what was going on, why Savis decided to be beaten, and why he requested this, because suddenly he said, no, nobody can beat me now. No matter if they try to punch me, they will never win over me. And I think was just a way to provoke them, because he wanted to see this new generation how he's reacting to other people's orders. Because let me tell you honestly, even Flock and what he's doing, this sounds like orders. And these new generations, these new guys who wanted to join the scouts in the future, probably, or the garrisons or the military forces, they're just following other orders. So there's not something different than before. I mean, even before, people were following orders. So now that Flock is saying, look, if you want to join us, do that. If you don't do it, you will not join the Jaegerists. So it's a kind of order, right? And yeah, Savis, I think he did that because, I mean, I have so many reasons why. First of all, I think that he wanted to rebel to this situation too, because I think he thinks that everything that is going on is wrong in general. But second of all, do you remember when there was that great episode in which Eren decided to talk to Savis once again, after he collected so many memories from his father and from Grisha? And there were lots of flashbacks, and he saw this face that was a Savis in Grisha's memories, and he went to talk to Eren. Eren went to talk to Savis, and in that moment there was that great thing that Carla said about being special and not being special. Who cares? The important thing is that he's growing up in this world, etc., etc., etc. We in that specific episode we discovered Savi's personality, because we understood how inferior he felt at that time. But I think even now things are not changing in Savi's point of view, because he still feels as if he is not needed, and as if he is not the main person who everybody is relying to. And yeah, even in this episode, I think that when he decided to be beaten, it was just because he is tired of the fact that even in this case, people decided to follow other people. I mean, in this case, the new generations who wanted to join the Jaegerists, they decided to follow Eren once again. And if you remember that episode, it was quite clear the fact that Savis wanted to be a special person in the world, but then Carla replied to him, look, Eren doesn't need to be special. He doesn't need to have a special talent. But here, till now, we discovered or we understood that Eren is quite special and he has this heavy burden to carry that no one else can. So Savis once again understands that ah, I'm not special at all, and this is another confirmation to me. And yeah, so the only thing I have to do is to be beaten, and who cares? Look, I feel as if Savi is really tired of his own existence, and by provoking them, the result is that they are right. I mean, he's nothing special, and he just have to accept this, even if it's really hard, because throughout throughout his own life, his entire life, ooh, he saw that he can't accept this, but at the same time, he knows what Grisha did to Eren, and he knows how Eren was so innocent and what happened to him throughout all these seasons. So he feels even really, really sorry for Eren, I guess, because look where we are now. I mean, after Grisha's decision, we are still here, where we find Eren as if now he turned into someone bad, even if, of course, I open a bracket for those who keep asking me. No, of course, uh, by watching episode 13, I really think Eren is not hating Mikasa and the others, but then I'm going to tell you on Thursday after we rewatch the two episodes in a row. After I will rewatch it, I rewatch them. I will tell you my theories about what's going next, what's going on next, and even after part one, because definitely now we have to think about what's coming next. But by doing this, even next week, I'm going to make my opinions and thoughts and the rewatch, and then we are going to guess because we will see, I think, an anticipation or something. Also, because of the 28th, if you don't know, the cast, the seiyuu of Shingeki no Kyojin will be part of Anime Japan. And of course, probably over there, we are going to find an announcement or something like that. So let's see what's going to happen. But definitely at the end of episode 16, there will be something as always. So probably they don't want to announce it in Anime Japan, but they wanted to announce it later after episode 16. But anyway, we have to wait the end of that episode. As much as soon as we see to be continued, we understand that there will be something after. Okay, going back to the scenes of episode 14. Then we saw Eren looking through the window. Even that scene was great, I guess, even if it was just a frame. But the face of Eren is not happy. Uh, I felt like that. He's just looking. Did he see the scene of Asavis, in your opinion? In my opinion, that could be because his face still makes me understand that he's not agreeing with what Flock is doing, of course, and he is hating Flock because he's a slave of Eren, and as we all know from what he says, he's hating people who are slave of something. So definitely the one and only being hated by Eren, I think it's Flock and all the Jaegerists, because they are doing. I mean, I don't know if the Jaegerists they know. Zeke and Aiden's plan? I don't think so, because if they knew, they would have never agreed, don't you think? So just because they are following Aiden's orders or Zeke's orders or whatever, they feel so powerful that at the end of the day, they don't know anything about what's going on. That means they are just slave of orders. Okay, they are just saying, okay, if Eren is telling me to do something like that, I will do it because Eren said it. That's wrong. You just under you just needed to understand Eren's purpose more before thinking, okay, let's follow Eren. But they don't know anything about what's going on as much as we didn't know until we reached episode 15. Huh? Oh, that's something crazy. Okay, but anyway, let's go on. I want to remark um, another thing. I wanted to say that Mappa is creating lots of great colors in all these episodes. The colors used with with the sunset during the Levi and Zix scene before the ending of episode 14 was stunning. Those colors were amazing, and I think Mappa is making it a lot. The colors used in these episodes, they are amazing, and I definitely think that Mappa is doing a great job. So all the people who are complaining about Mappa still, I think you should pay attention or on many things and not just the usual things like the CGI and stuff like that. Yes, I know there were moments of the CGI in the Levi versus Zeke's battle too, but uh, if you when or if or when you pay attention on the eyes and all the colors and on the ways they are portraying the feelings, I think, ooh, who cares about the CGI? That's my opinion. But oh, finally, look, when I was watching the previous seasons with my mother, I remember that my mother was talking about these glasses that Zeke is wearing. And when we were discussing about this, look, you can find all the videos with my mother on the channel. I mean, go and check it out, check them out because they are all the three seasons. And yeah, people who are asking me if my mother is about to react to season 4, the answer is yes, but we still have to wait that she will be able to come to Japan. And that's why you are not able to watch her reaction videos still. But when she will be able to come back, we will definitely make all the episodes. Close the bracket. But yeah, I remember that when I was watching these previous seasons with her, my mother was talking about those glasses, and she thought that Grisha gave Zeke these glasses, and that's why there was an important connection because even Grisha was wearing glasses, so Zeke was wearing glasses because he was. Um, he was referring to his father. That's a hilarious, right? Because wow, in this case, we understand that those glasses are so important to Zeke, and there is none. Let's say that it's just a consequence after Grisha's behavior, but those glasses are a precious memory about what happened. In his memories, I mean, in the past before Xava, I call him Xava, that is the Japanese pronunciation, so I don't make mistakes. But yeah, those were precious memories about Xava and what he was to Zeke, and a precious memory of a person that is not living anymore. He's just living inside Zeke and inside the memories that he collected about him. That is, those glasses are even a personal attachment to something. And we know that for Zeke, throughout his own and entire childhood, to be attached on something that was really precious to Zeke. And that's what Zeke really wanted throughout his life. He didn't want material things. He didn't want to be rich, or he didn't want to be someone important. He really wanted to be important to his parents. And what he really wanted was love. That that is not something impossible to achieve, but in this case, it was really impossible to achieve. So I felt so sorry for Zeke throughout all the episode of 15 because I realized that Isayama is a genius, as I said at the end of my reaction video, because there is always an explanation for everything in this story. And yeah, in the previous episode, I said, "Look, I hate you, Zeke, because he went against Levi," and parts of me are still feeling like that. But on the other side, now I understand his plan, and I understand why he is doing all this, and what he felt throughout his childhood, and the pain of not being accepted, the pain of not being acknowledged by his parents was something terrible, something disgusting. But we are going to talk about it later for sure. Now I'm going to talk. I'm still going on talking about these glasses because, wow, these glasses are portraying what Zeke is now and what Zeke was before when he developed this relationship with Xava and how important these glasses are. Another thing that I want to say is that those glasses can be important to Zeke also because thanks to them, it's like as if he's looking to the world as Xava did. I mean, by collecting those glasses and by using them even now, it's like as if he wants that Xava is still alive and he's still next to him. So it's like as if Xava right now is watching through Zeke's eyes. And that's why even at the end of episode 15, he's saying, "Look, Xava, are you checking now? Are you looking at me now?" This will to be watched or to feel someone like Sava next to him, as if he didn't want to feel alone once again. This is really nice. I think um, all characters are attached to something. As much as Eren was attached to that key, do you remember? But this is another connotation. I mean, this is not relating to the importance of an object. But let me tell you, anyway, the importance of objects here in this story, or the importance of a people to other people, this is really nice, and this is quite evident, I guess. So, absolutely, those classes have such an importance that at the beginning, when we see episode 14, we don't expect these glasses being part of a person who was about to be called a father later. Because I was convinced, okay, those glasses were used by Zeke because he wanted to resemble Grisha somehow. Or I don't know, or just because he needed glasses. But I've never imagined that those glasses were so important to the story. And that makes you understand how great this story is because even a pair of glasses can be relevant, and even a pair of glasses can let you understand an entire world behind a character. So this is something great, something I've never imagined to feel or to discover. So thank you, Zayama, because um, we should pay attention on details more. But definitely, those glasses are something. Something. This is amazing. And then after Levi is saying to him, "Look, I don't know where those glasses are, but I don't think you will need them anymore." Ooh, in that moment, right now, after watching episode 15, I would like to say to Levi, if you only knew, this is quite common comment, right? But then we see that flashback that is really important because look, during the reaction video, I made a huge mistake because I said, "Oh, is it his father?" But then I said, oh, "Wait a second, Grisha is his father, so what's going on?" And then after, I mean, at the end of episode 15, he said he's saying father. So Look, wow. But that flashback is representing what Zeke really wanted from his father. Just playing baseball or just playing catchball with him was enough. And that's what he really wanted, to collect memories with his parents. Dear and important memories, not brainwashing thing. And this was really sad, let me tell you. I really felt it. And because Zika can be one of us. Many people in real life, they don't have the possibility to spend the times with their parents, or they are not accepted enough, or they are not acknowledged, they are not loved, or they are used for other purposes. So I think Zika is a character that can describe even one of us or all of us in some situations. That's why I think Isayama really portrayed him in a great way. Um, and how he described this character throughout the seasons. We started seeing Zeke at the end of a season two. No, sorry, at the end of a season one, I guess, or something, or at the beginning. Yeah, at the beginning of a season two, he's appearing as the Beast, the Titan. But we felt that Zeke was a villain, and that Zeke was the bad guy, or the person who was destroying other people's lives. And that's true, he did that. But now we just understand that Zeke is a victim of the system. I mean, he's the victim of what's going on between these aliens and the rest of the world, how the rest of the world is feeling about aliens, how aliens are reacting to the world, and their clear position against them. It's this sort of cycling of revenge and pain that is always going through the entire story. So, Zika is just a victim. And he started his life by being so innocent. And then he was a part of this game. He was dragged into this game somehow. So, as you can see, how innocent people are turning into something bad, not because they want it, but because they are forced to do something like this, because now it's necessary. So, I think this necessary subject is always a present in season, especially in season four, because of the actions of the Jaegers and the actions of other characters that are deciding to behave in a certain way because they are forced to do this. Okay, there is no other choice. This is another subject, but we are going to talk about subjects on Thursday for sure. And that great flashback we have at the end of episode 14 when Xawa is saying, "Do you want to become a baseball player?" And he is answering now, as if he's talking to Xawa now, as if he has Xawa in front of him now. And this was really beautiful too. And he says, "No, because I have another mission, Xawa." And wow, this mission is terrible, but at the same time necessary. If you follow my comments and thoughts since the beginning, I was talking to you about this idea to exterminate, I mean, to finish, to end everyone, to erase everything, okay, in order to start something new later. And okay, this is something I have thought, even if in a different way, but I thought it already in previous episodes about this idea of what Eren was about to do, or what he really wanted to do. But yeah, when Xava was telling Zika, "Do you want to become a baseball player?" This is a normal dream that boys can have. Look, even in real life, you are asking your kids, "What do you want to become when you will become an adult. Okay, these are usual dreams. Oh, I want to become a firefighter. Oh, I wanted to become an astronaut. I want to become a baseball player or a soccer player. These are common dreams, but they are so normal. And to seek this normality, this routine was something unbelievable, something he has never imagined, something that was not part of his life. So just even thinking about becoming a baseball player, uh, that was something unusual and impossible to him because he had already another mission to fulfill. And this is something I think that if Zeke could come back in time, he would have decided not to become a warrior for real, and he would have preferred to live a normal life surrounded by normal love and by feeling his parents' heart more than ever. Zeke was dragged into this. He really didn't want to be part of this. And this is something crazy because when you are, as I always told you, when you are forced to do something, this is something bad. This is something you shouldn't do. Otherwise, you're going to lose that person. Even in real life, if you force other people to do something for you and they are not doing this because they want to help you, but just because you are forcing them, then later you're about to be abandoned by them, you're about to lose them. And this is what happened clearly in these episodes too. But look, what I really liked, and then we are going to analyze this theme of the key, is that Zika is the key of everything, is the key of a salvation from their point of view. I mean, from the Jaeger's point of view, but even from Xava's point of view, okay? And he has to be sacrificed. So, of course, this mission is bad because he has to do something that probably, if he could have come back in time, he would have never done it. But now it's something that he has to do, and there is no other choice. The fact that he is the key of something makes him feel important, even if he will always be a number two. And then I'm going to talk to you about this number one, number two, etc., by analyzing the relationship he had with Grisha. But absolutely, I think that this mission now is making him feel important to someone or important in general. And this is something that has never happened because Zeke was never important to anyone. So the fact that now he's in the best position ever from his point of view because he's going to save everybody and he has this responsibility. Finally, he has a responsibility. Finally, he is important. Finally, he is saving others. Finally, he feels useful. And this is something that has never happened before in his past life. So this is already something that is going to change him as a person and as a character. But okay, then episode 14 finished. And we started with episode 15. See, that's why I started 30 minutes before, because otherwise, okay. So we start with Grisha that is making Zeke understand the reality. The reality as it is from Grisha's point of view. And this is the problem. I mean, even in season 3 part 2, at the end of season 3 part 2, we saw reality through Grisha's eyes. And especially, look, I wanted to remark this because this is the key. If you watch the end of a season 3 part 2, you collect lots of info, and especially now that you're about to watch episode 15, you can compare and you can understand what was the same, what was different, etc. But yeah, you perceive the reality of Grisha, but Grisha's reality is not all humanity's reality. And why Grisha made a mistake is because even when he was in season 3 part 2, when he was talking to Grice, And do you remember I told you several times already, but I wanted to say it one more time because now I let you understand what I think for real. When he is talking to Grice and he's saying, "Look, I didn't decode everything from this manuscript. I mean, from what he found, but it's not important, Grice, because this is the truth. It's obvious that it's the truth, okay? By saying this, we already understand how Grisha was wrong. Because if you don't decode everything from that, you can't say that that's the truth you are about to spread throughout the world, okay? By doing this, you're making a huge mistake. And in fact, you're about to regret it. And that's what happened. He's just spreading his truth. But if you follow Kruger, what Kruger said was essential too, because he said there is not an absolute truth. And this is correct. There is not an absolute truth in this story. There is just people's opinions, people's beliefs, people's ideals, people's truths, but not the truth. Okay? So, what Grisha is doing now at the beginning of the episode is bad because since the beginning, he was trying to say, Zika, this is where we live. And when he was analyzing the behavior of that Marley person, he was saying, that's the outside world. This could be true because if an alien goes out to the world, he is considered bad. He's considered an alien. So that's not a fake news. I mean, that's not something fake. But he's generalizing. I mean, he is saying that the entire world will behave like that old man, and then that the entire world is looking at them as if they are devils. Yeah, this could be true, but he doesn't have the evidence that this is really happening because he didn't get in touch with all the people of the world. He didn't have the possibility to talk to the rest of the world to see if all people would have behaved like that Marley old man. Do you understand what I mean? So what Grisha is doing is just to portray his truth based on his experience. But his experience is not an absolute experience for everybody. It's like as if Grisha is portraying himself as the Almighty because he's saying, look, if it happened to me, it will happen to everybody. Yes, this could be true, but until you verify it by yourself, this is not an absolute truth. Grisha should have said, look, Zika, thanks to my experience of what I've passed, I think this could be true. I think that what happened is making this true because of what I have experienced. No, he's not saying something like this. He's just saying, look, Zika, this is what's happening to all of aliens, and that's the outside world. That's what's waiting for you too. We don't know. But he was making it as if it was something certain, and this is wrong. But then he is asking a question. Oh my, people who are still believing that Grisha behaved in a different way with Eren, they are wrong, in my opinion. Because Grisha is asking Zeke at the beginning, before the opening, he's saying, do you want to go out from here? And Zeke said, yes, I want to go out from here. Look, is the same question Grisha asked Eren. Okay, not the same question, but similar. Because to Eren, when he discovered that Eren wanted to go outside the walls, and he wanted to discover. He wanted to be part of a Chosahed and the scouts, and he wanted to go outside. And in that moment, everybody was contrary. I mean, Carla said, "No, you don't have to go," and then Mikasa said, "No, no, 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 you will not go." But Grisha was the only one agreeing with this, and he was asking him, "Why do you want to go out?" So the modus operandi, I mean, the way to go on with these same beliefs Grisha have is following even Eren's life. I mean, he's going through Eren's life too, so he's repeating the same mistake. And so I don't think Grisha behaved in a different way with Eren. No, he was just repeating the same things in another way, but it's almost the same. And later, I'm going to tell you why I think like this. But let's go on. Let me say one thing. Maybe this is something unpopular, but I want to say it anyway. Every time I decided throughout this journey, throughout of this adventure of season 4, to put myself in other characters' positions. Because if I didn't do that, that was impossible to understand the characters' personalities and why they decided to do something instead of something else. In this case, even if I know that Grisha is wrong, is deeply wrong, for a second or for some minutes, I want to put myself in his position. Because I think that if we look the world through Grisha's eyes, it's obvious that what he's doing is something good. Let me explain you what I mean. Not the brainwashing thing. No, that's wrong. But how he feels. When he decided to go outside because he just really wanted to get in touch with the Zeppelin. I mean, he really wanted to see where the Zeppelin went. So what he was trying to do was something innocent, was something that nobody could have imagined that this could have caused something so terrible like a Faye's death, okay? His sister's death. So if I put myself in Grisha's position, one day I go outside and I already feel guilty because I wanted to go outside. But at the same time, I think that it's not something bad because the only thing I want to do is just to check the Zeppelin. So I don't want to harm anyone. I don't want to hit anyone. I don't want to cause troubles to anyone. I just want to go and follow that Zeppelin. And this is something pretty innocent. Then Faye is coming with me. So yeah, I have the responsibility for her. Uh, but once she's killed, I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand why my sister had to die because of a Zeppelin. And I don't understand why I don't have rights as all the others. I don't understand why I have to be discriminated throughout all of my life. I don't understand why my sister had to pay for this. And I always feel guilty because of what happened that day. So if we go on with these thoughts, Grisha's thoughts, and if we try 1 second to put ourselves in his position, of course, we can't say that Grisha is wrong because definitely what the world is doing to Eldians is something wrong. To discriminate, to do everything that they are doing, to confine people in an internment zone, to um, force them to wear an armband, to how can I say, to be called as devils, demons all the times, the scum of society, the blah, 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 blah. I mean, okay, all of this is wrong. So if I put myself in Grisha's position, I can understand him partially. Then when he is brainwashing his kids, or yeah, his kids, let me say that he brainwashed Eren too. So when he's doing what he's doing next, that's wrong. But if I have to relate to Grisha's innocence at the beginning, I really understand him because suddenly he is losing his sister like this just because of him, just because he really wanted to check the Zeppelin only. And after that moment, he's creating an entire story that, yeah, when Kruger said, look, you started everything. That's correct. If he didn't go out from those walls, this would have never happened. This is crazy. This is really crazy. Probably he would have never met even Dinah Fritz. Even Zeke could have never been born, etc., etc., etc. So, woo, try to imagine this. But by going back to this old man, this Marlian, that is that is attacking Grisha, Dinah Fritz, and the tiny Zeke, um, he's calling them as demons, devils, and stuff like that. And then he's saying, why do you create kids still? I mean, why do you want to have kids still if you know that you're devils? This is the key for the entire episode because later we understand that Zeke's plan is based on that specific question, and this is something crazy if you think like that. I mean, ooh, when I discovered that Zeke's plan at the end of the episode, I was, wow, wow, wow. I couldn't believe this. But as you see, after that, Grisha tells Zeke, look, this is how we are discriminated. This is how the outside world is behaving towards us. That's partially incorrect because, as I told you, if we check the story from Grisha's point of view, we can think like that. But if we are a little bit more objective, we can say that Grisha didn't know the rest of the world too. So how could he think that all the people in the world would have behaved the same in front of them? That's wrong. And this brainwashing method was starting already without even knowing, without even putting a book in front of Zeke. Already this method started, and this was really bad. This was something crazy, let me tell you honestly. I felt so sorry for Zeke and for what he experienced throughout his life. And I quite understand why he decided to do what he decided to do. So, absolutely. But then, how Grisha is pushing Zeke to do things or to think things, that's terrible. And that's really disgusting, let me tell you. In my reaction, I didn't have some reactions because the only thing I felt it was just that I was disgusted. So that was really hard to watch. And I didn't cry because I think that I felt more disgusted than crying for this situation and how Zeke was handling all these. I felt really sad and really disgusted. But if I put myself in Grisha's position, I understand him, but at the same time, he exaggerated and he could have done things in a different way. If you really wanted to change the world, you understand that what you're doing, it's just repeating what the world is once again. But he didn't get it. I mean, he was too focused on his revenge and his personal revenge because at that time he was not just getting his revenge because of aliens. He was just taking his revenge because of a Fae. That is something different, okay? This is something that can be misunderstood. Okay, Grisha didn't want that other people felt the same as he felt, etc., etc. But principally, he wanted to get his revenge because of his sister, and not because of all aliens. This is my opinion. Um, and by doing what he did, he definitely had as a consequence an opposite reaction from Zeke, because Zeke started hating him. He didn't love his father anymore. The more he went on with his life, the more he felt hate for his father. So what Grisha did was was totally the contrary of what he probably would have expected. He would have expected to be loved by his son, to be devoted by his son, to be an important person for his son. No, that's totally the contrary, because his son started to hate him, started to disapprove of what he did, started to feel used by him. So this is something that if I would have been a mother, I would never like to feel as Grisha felt once he discovered what Zig did to me, because I forced my kid to think things. I forced my kid to be a tool. How are you supposed to change or to save the world by uh, by making this decision? I mean, by making your dear son into a tool. This is illogical. This is incoherent. Zeke wanted to change the world by making his son become a tool. How can you change the world in this way? You're just repeating what other people did. What even your what even your father, that means Grisha's father, did to you, Grisha. How are you supposed to change the world if you repeat the same actions of the previous generations? This is not a change. This is just trying to repeat the things you also experienced. And this blown my mind, because I was thinking, Grisha, why you don't understand that you're just repeating what your father did to you? This is just a repetition. This is not a way to change the world. This is stupid. This is wrong. Well, look, yeah, if you check season 3, part 2, and you check what Grisha is doing now, oh, this is the same. So when we felt sorry for Grisha when he was a kid in season 3, part 2, now I feel sorry for Zika, because Grisha, by being the victim of the system of the world he's living in, he's repeating things. Even his father, I mean, even Grisha's father said, look, we have to do this because we have to save the world from aliens. Now Grisha is saying, no, we have to do this because we have to save aliens world against the world that are treating us as bad as nobody is. You're just repeating the things, Grisha. What are you doing? This is not the way to change the world. This is just repeating things on the opposite side. I mean, you are on the side of aliens, and your father was on the side of aliens living in Marley. But what are you doing? So Grisha is like a Karina at the end of the day. The way Karina was brainwashing Raina for her purposes only, because I want to remark this, Karina didn't love Raina at all. Karina wanted to use Raina in order to feel honored by Marlins and to be able probably to live with her husband. I mean, from to live with Reiner's father, who was a Marley. By doing this, she decided to force Reiner to become a warrior. She decided to indoctrinate Reiner that if he became a warrior, he could have become a hero to in front of everybody. So this could have made him become the most important person in Marley, etc., etc. But she was just doing this because of her purposes only. And Grisha is like a Karina right now. She is doing to Zika the same things. So this is something wrong. I can't stand this. I really can't. Grisha, what are you doing? You're not supposed to save the world. You're just supposed to indoctrinate the new generations by thinking what you think as if it's an absolute truth, but it's not. It's just your life, it's just your experiences, it's just your truth. No, this is incoherent, this is wrong. Um, and then another parallelism with Raina, and that's why I really like the Reiner's story too, because this was a way to understand all the other characters too, somehow. Is that here Zeke is like a Reiner. I mean, Zeke saw in Reiner the same thing he experienced because Reiner was not important to anyone. Reiner was always inferior. Reiner was not accepted during the trainings and stuff like that. Reiner was a useless too. Look, you see these kids forced to do things they don't want to do. Because Reiner wanted to become a warrior not because he wanted it, but because he wanted to be praised by his mother. That is something different. Zeke wants to become a warrior to be praised by his father. That's the same thing. So there is a repetition through generations because Zeke was older than Reiner, but then Reiner is repeating the same things that Zeke experienced. And that's why Reiner doesn't want the same destiny for Gabi too, because she's going to experience the same things. Um, but absolutely, I found a deep connection between Zeke and Reiner here. The same scenes, the training scenes, the fact that you see that Zeke is not able to assemble a weapon and stuff like that. The same procedure, the same unfortunate story, and this was quite sad. Yeah. Um, did I finish? Yeah. Now I'm checking the notes so I can go on step by step. Um, how Grisha then is pushing Zeke to become a warrior, that's something terrible too. How was the training? Come on, become a warrior. Do you still want to become a warrior? You should, because you are our son, etc. etc. Now look, I'm speechless. Then, of course, when they leave Zeke to the grandpa, I mean, to his father and his mother, and he's saying, look, we are going to the dance club. Okay, of course, no. He's going to that club they decided to create in order to restore the alien empire, for sure. But by doing this, yeah, from his point of view, he's doing this because he wants to save Zeke and all the other aliens living in Marley because he wants to rebel. Okay, one more time, if we put ourselves in Grisha's position, he is doing something good. Not the brainwashing thing, but the ideal that he has to be free, to have a common rights, to be acknowledged by everyone in the world, by rebel because they are tired to live in this internment zone and all the other purposes. Yes, he is correct from his point of view without the brainwashing thing. But from Zeke's point of view, it's different because the more they go on going to this dance club that of course we understand is not a dance club, he's losing his parents. I mean, he is not spending time with them. He's not creating or collecting memories with them. They are detaching themselves from him and they are creating a sort of wall. Uh, and this is something bad because the more you go on with your projects, the more you lose the attention on your kids, and the more you lose time, and that time can't be regained. Once you decided to pay attention on other things rather than your kids, you're going to lose them. And once you will lose them, there's no turning back. You will never be able to go back in time and have another chance. What Grisha was doing was this: he was losing this precious time he could have had with his kid because he was focusing on something else. And his kid became nothing. He became just a tool, he became just a machine to be used when he really wanted, because Grisha in his past life didn't feel as if he was useful. So now he wanted to repeat as if as if Grisha had another chance to rebuild his own story, his own past by using Zika. This is something crazy. This is something people shouldn't do. And in real life, it's hard to say, but in real life, this can happen. Okay, even in real life, people are used as if they are tools, especially kids. Let's think about something common: the divorce. When people divorce, when couples divorce, they usually, or some most of the time, they are using their kids as tools. Now they are trying to spread bad things about the other parent, or they are saying negative things about the father or the mother so they can have the kids for themselves. This is using kids. So what's happening here in this episode is quite common even in real life, sorry to say. And that's why I feel bad, because kids shouldn't be used. Kids should have been loved. And wow, wow. For example, how even grandpa and grandma, I mean, I'm talking about Zeke's grandpa and grandma, are buying Zeke somehow. When, for example, when grandma says, "Ah, look, I cooked your favorite cake. Yeah, your favorite pie." But then you're going to brainwash him. That means I'm trying to buy your feelings. I'm trying to buy your love for me. And I'm trying to buy your thoughts too, because then I cooked your favorite pie. So that means I'm not a bad grandma. I'm not brainwashing you. I'm not doing something wrong to you. I cooked your favorite pie. I will read your favorite book. No, this is just a way to buy people, to buy their feelings, to trick their feelings. And so, what grandma and grandpa are doing too, this is something that Grisha is doing too. So, how, once again, how is Grisha supposing to change the world if he's doing the same to his kid? The same things that he felt in the past, and the same things grandpa and grandma are doing to him now that he is going to the dance club is the same. How can you let Zeke going to your father's house to be brainwashed over there too? And in the meantime, you want to save the world thanks to Zeke. This is crazy. This is crazy. You're leaving your child to your father, that means Zeke's grandpa, and you, Grisha, know that your father used to brainwash people because you were brainwashed too somehow at the beginning, even if you rebelled later, yes, but that was his modus operandi. So how can you leave Zeke to your father's home when you know how your father is behaving, because you experienced that, and you do this because at the same time you are looking for your ideals, for your purposes only? This is so selfish. Grisha, you are selfish and you did this to Eren too. You are selfish. And please don't tell me he didn't have another choice. No, no, wait. Later we are going to discuss about this too, and you will see that Grisha, even if it was in a different way, he was repeating the same things over and over again. So he's wrong even with Eren. He created another victim. Um, so when Grandma said, "Oh look, I cooked your favorite pie," I thought, "Oh, finally they understood that what they did in the past with Grisha was wrong, and they just didn't have to keep brainwashing their kids or their niece because this is something wrong." Okay, oh, they have a normal relationship between grandparents and their niece, right? No, after 2 seconds we see Grandpa opening the book and brainwashing him. Come on. Nothing changed. So Grandpa didn't learn anything from his mistakes, and Grisha didn't learn anything from his existence. For real. That was so disappointing to watch. Because Grandpa was creating another victim. After all that happened with the Fae, and after all that happened with the Grisha and his behavior, now Grandpa decided to do it once again with Zeke. This is something. So you understand that that pie is baked on purpose. That cat book at the end, after being brainwashed, these are all ways that people are using to trick people's feelings or to buy their feelings. And this is not love. Zeke, I agree with Xava when he said, Zeke, you were not loved. But I want to say one thing about Xava too later. So, because when he said something like this, he should have said it even to his grandpa or his grandma, because even grandpa and grandma have never loved him for real. They were just forcing him to think things too. So he was not loved by anyone, I guess. Xava, yeah, he's a tiny parenthesis in his life, in my opinion, because, okay, I'm going to tell you later, okay. Um, I wanted to say one thing. When Grandpa is talking about this lago and stuff like that, I want to say that that Isayama really loves Italian language. I saw this with Niccolò, that is a common Italian name. And I wanted to say it even with these three terms that he used for this novel that the grandpa is telling to Zeke. And lago, it means lake in English. Then monte in Italian, it means mountain in English. And valle, it means valley in English. So as you can see, Isayama likes to use Italian words. Thank you so much. I'm so happy, Isayama. Thank you. Grazie mille, Isayama. And, oh, I told you, the more you go on with this way, that means to make Zeke forcing to believe things, etc., 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 the more Zeke is getting tired. Of course, this is obvious. He's getting tired because if he goes on one side, he's brainwashed. If he goes on the other side, he's brainwashed. If he goes on this way, he has to believe one thing. If he has on the other way, he has to believe another thing. So this pisses me off, because if I was Zeke, I would have said, okay, look, guys, I don't like both of you. Sayonara, I mean, bye-bye. I admired Zeke because throughout his childhood, he resisted and he didn't want to disappoint others by sacrificing his own thoughts, his own feelings. And this is something that just kind people do. Just sweet people do. When 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 you are a sweet and a kind person, you don't want other people to feel disappointed by you, or you don't want that they feel wrong about you. You accomplish them. You decide to be what they want you to be, just because you need to be acknowledged by them. You need appreciations, you need compliments, you need good words from them. So you are ready to do whatever they want, because if in return you can have those kind ones you want, words you want, if you in return you have that feeling or that relationship you really wanted to have, you're ready to do everything. And that's what Zeke was doing, both with both grandpa and grandma, both with his parents. But nothing worked because he got tired. In fact, every time he was brainwashed, he was saying, "Yes, I know. So I have to say that." That Lago experience that made the Titans become bad and they killed lots of people. Then when he was brainwashed by Grisha, he said totally the contrary, just because he wanted it to be praised or he wanted it to be accepted. He was really desperate. I think Zika was really desperate, searching for love and affection. And this is something terrible. But then, oh, even Grandpa, when he's saying, "Does your father sing to you the proper story?" Look, it's like going to. Do you remember when Eren was meeting Reiner and he was asking him the same questions? It was like as if we were uh, on a psychiatrical, uh, how can I call it? Yeah, a psychiatrical room in which they are asking you questions and questions and questions, or if you are in front of a person who's trying to brainwashing you, and he was saying, is your father saying you the proper story? Yes, yes. Do you want to become a warrior? Yes, yes. In both cases, Zeke was lying. I mean, he was trying to say what his grandfather wanted to hear, but that was not the portrait of his feelings. And this is what he's doing with the Grisha too, later when we see the other scene. But absolutely, this way to make it a certain, I mean, this way that Grandpa is using to make it sure that Zeke is followed in the proper way, that Zeke is believing the proper things. This reminds me of Karina, and this is why I hate Karina for all these, for all the things she did to Raina and to Gabi too. Okay. Then when Zeke is hearing, look, and now that we finished with this learning process, this is not something to learn. This is just brainwashed thing. Now I can read you that book you really like. See, this way to trick Zeke's feelings by doing this. First the pie, then the brainwash, then okay, your favorite book. These are all techniques to use in order to get that person for you only and to buy this person. But in that moment, Zeke, when he heard your favorite pie, your favorite book, he was smiling in a different way because he was happy to hear that Grandma remembered his favorite pie. Grandma remembered his favorite book. So he said, do they love me? Because they remember my favorite things. Is this love? Do they remember what I love? Do they love me for real? I felt so sad for Zeke in that moment because I felt as if he was so desperate that he really wanted to do no matter what, all the things Other people wanted because if he could have had the love in return, that was okay. And this is so sad. Um, because Zeke doesn't want to be special. He doesn't want to be a superhero. He doesn't want to be recognized by others. He just wants to be recognized by his family. He just wants to be loved by them. If he has that, that's enough for him to live. And this is so admirable because other people want more, more, more. Other people want power. They want to become rich. They want to become admirable by everybody. They want to blah, 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 blah. But Zeke doesn't want that. And Zeke wants to be a common person because if he can have love from his parents, for other people can be nothing. But for Zeke is everything. So that's why it's quite sad. And I felt desperate too because I don't want to be in his position, and I feel so sorry for all the people who are feeling this in real life too. I was so lucky to be surrounded by love by my family, and I was so lucky to have been hugged, kissed, and to got to have got all the attentions, all the best attentions, and all the best vision of love from my parents that I can never imagine what could have been to feel right now as Zeke felt. That's why, ugh, I feel so sorry for him. And I feel so sorry for all the people in the world who are not loved enough, who are not praised enough, who are not followed by their parents as they should be. Because one more time, when you decided to have a kid, you have this responsibility. You decided to have a kid, so you can't force him to think the things you want. You can't let him become a tool. The only thing you are supposed to do is to love him or her because that's why you decided to have a baby. That's why you decided to create a family. If you decided to create a family for other purposes, just don't start. It's better. And I agree with Zeke when he says maybe it was better if I was never being born because that's the main thing. If you don't want to create pain, or if you are not sure to handle a baby or a kid or whatever, don't make any baby. It's better because otherwise the result is even worse. When you decided to have a baby, you decided that you're ready to love him unconditionally. You are not making a baby just for your purposes only because that's selfish. That's not love. That's selfishness. This is something else. Let's not confuse selfishness with love. No way. And then Zeke is checking a face picture. And I think in that moment, when he was checking a face picture, he was thinking, will I turn into Faye really soon? I mean, will I be sacrificed somehow? Will I survive? Because Faye didn't survive. Will I be sacrificed because of others, like in Faye's case, because Faye followed Grisha outside the walls and she lost her life because of this. So she was sacrificed somehow because of what Grisha was thinking, because of Grisha's purposes, because at that time Grisha was the older brother, so he should have taken care of her more instead of being so innocent to follow his dreams to follow the Zeppelin. Even if on another point of view, on another side, we can say, look, Grisha was not doing something bad. He was just following a Zeppelin. Come on. How can they be tortured because of this? This is crazy. Yes, it is, for sure. But on the other side, Faye was risking her life and was sacrificed because of Grisha's will, because of his intention to follow the Zeppelin. So Zika right now is just saying, will I become Fae part two? I mean, will I be sacrificed to? Will I survive instead? Try to imagine to wake up every morning and think something like this. This is a nightmare. And then that beautiful bed scene when we see that uh, Zeke is walking home, but he is meeting. I mean, he has in front of his eyes the portrait of love because he is seeing a father that is playing catchball with his son, and at the end, if the kid is making a mistake or if they finished playing catchball, the father is touching his head here. So he thinks, wow, that would be so nice for me to have the same condition, to feel the same things, to be cuddled, to be appreciated, not because of other purposes, but just because I am Zeke, just because I am their son, and not because I have to prove them that I'm great, and not because I have to prove them that I'm skilled enough. And I would like to play with my father too. I would like to be free to play with my father, and I want to be cuddled too. I want to be hugged too. I want to be loved too. That scene was, look, it reminds me a little bit of Gara. Do you remember? If you follow the Naruto, you see suddenly that Gara is getting in touch with the same scene, and even Gara was used as a tool, as a weapon, because he was a Jinchuriki. And also in that case, he saw a mother cuddling her daughter or her son. Right now, I don't remember, but the scene was the same. So this lack of affection, this lack of love, this desperation to see in front of your eyes, is something that is so normal, that should be so easy to do, but you don't have it. And the fact that you're running towards this idea to reach it, but you can't. This is so sad. In fact, later when he's coming back home and he's saying, "Papa, I am now school finished in advance, and now I have lots of time. Can we?" Oh, we have lots of time to learn. No, I mean, no, come on. But let me tell you one thing. Another thing I admire about Zika is that he keeps trying. I mean, even if he saw that Grisha had this attitude and Grisha had these proposes for him, and he didn't want to have any sort of relationship with him because he was just using his kid. He didn't even want to play with him or to read him a novel or to play with him. He didn't want to do anything with him. He was just using him because he couldn't do things in the past. So now he has Zeke. And Zeke is like a Grisha part two. Grisha part one couldn't make it, so let's go on with Grisha part two. That means Zeke. Right now we will be able to make it because now we have the royal blood, etc., etc. Okay, but what I admire is that Zeke is trying to give him another chance to show him that he can be loved. Every time that he is finding uh, close the door, he is always trying to open it one more time. And this is quite admirable because if I were Zeke right now, I would have lost all of my hopes, sincerely. But he keeps trying to find a connection with his father, even if the answer is always no. He keeps trying. He keeps proving him, look, father, I'm doing what you want. Look, can you admire me? Can you love me? But even the concept, can you love me? This is so sad. Ugh. And then one more time, the same book. Look, Lago. Oh, come on, Grisha. Don't you remember what you did too? Or what you experienced too when Faye died? No, you don't remember. You, of course, the purpose is different, but you're doing the exact same thing your father did. Nothing different, for real. Nothing different. It's the same. But then, when Zeke is replying in the proper way, as Grisha wants, he is touching his head like this. I mean, he's cuddling him, and Zeke has this. It's just one frame, but he has this beautiful smile, as if, "Oh, today I saw that gesture with that father and son moment. Now I'm feeling the same thing. Ah, finally." But it's not because of what he thinks. It's not because he's loved or he's not appreciated, but just because he replied in the proper way as Grisha wanted. And that's not love. That's not love. For real. Um, then, uh, after this scene, we see that um, Zeke is meeting for the first time Xava. And the approach is totally different because finally we have a person, a man, who wants to play with Zeke without interests. I mean, without personal goals referred to Zeke, or without Zeke being controlled by him. It's just, okay, let's play baseball without any other intention. And wow, then Zeke is receiving his first compliments, his first great words from this person. He's saying, "Oh, look, you can catch the ball really nicely," or "Oh, you have a great arm when you throw the ball." These are all compliments. These are all good words that Zeke wanted to hear from Grisha, not from Xava, not from a stranger. And in that moment, maybe Zeke is thinking, if a stranger can tell me those things, why my father can't? That's my father. So for my father, it would have been even easier to say those things. Why he is not able to say them? And a stranger can do this instead. This is so unbelievable for him. But it happened. That person didn't want anything in return. That person wanted to play with him, and that's it. Or maybe when, yeah, there was the training at the beginning of the episode, we see that Xava is talking to Magato, and he's saying one of these kids are about to turn into the Beast Titan, right? And he already saw Yeager. I mean, he already saw Zeke Yeager running, and he was the last one, etc., etc. And probably he was thinking, look, that Zeke Yeager is like me because I am useless to war too, and I can find the things in common with him for sure. So we can see this scene, the scene of the first time they play catchball together, in two different ways. I mean, the first way is what I told you till now. That means finally Zika is finding a person that doesn't want anything in return, that just wants to play baseball with him, or catchball or baseball, whatever, with him, and he doesn't want anything else. But the second thing, the second theory can be that even Xava saw Zico already in the training, and he saw that he could have had points in common with him because even Xava was really useless in war and stuff like that, and he needed to find someone to give his beast a titan. And was he using Zika too? Because he had to handle the beast. Someone had to handle the beast titan, so they needed someone. Which one is the right one? Both can be corrected too. At the end, Zeke was used by everybody, in my opinion. He was used by everybody. No matter if that was because he wanted to become the Beast Titan or not, no matter because his parents were using him, no matter because his grandparents were using him, all of them, even the even during the training, he was used as a weapon, as a warrior candidate, as a child who was supposed to go to war. And this is crazy, okay? This is something I can't stand. Um, then, yeah, he is admitting this. I mean, Xava is saying, "Look, I'm not useful in war, so I prefer to play catchball." And finally, also in this case, Zeke found a person who had something in common with him because he is also useless in warrior. Um, During war, as a warrior, he is useless. Um, so that's why I think in Xava he found himself too for the first time. A person who can really understand him, who can really appreciate him, who can really feel what he feels. Um, and then these look, Zeke is trying one more time. After that scene when he said, "Papa, can we play together?" No, it's time to learn. We have lots of time now. He tried one more time. He went back home after meeting Sava and he wanted to share with Grisha the fact that he found the owner of the Beast Titan. And he talked to him. He was praised by the owner of the Beast Titan. And that means, woo, maybe I have a chance to become a warrior, Papa. But as soon as he tried, he heard Grice and Grisha talking. Look, I wanted to punch Grisha for real. Sorry to say this, but when he said, if it's about Zeke, that means, come on, he will never be able to do that. He is useless. He can't do it. If it's about, if we are talking about Zeke, if Fukuro, I mean, if the owl said that he doesn't have the chance because Dinah said, come on, he will have another chance. Dinah, what the F are you doing? You were supposed to be a mom. But you keep wishing for Zeke to become a warrior. This is disgusting. But then what Grisha said when he said, if it's about Zeke, oh, I mean, at the beginning of the episode, you said, you will be the savior of this world. Zeke, you are my kid. Yeah, I know you can. If it's about Zeke. Oh, Grisha, remember where you come from. Remember where you come from. That means your father. Think about what your father thought about you. Were you happy? When you discovered how your father felt about you, were you happy? Why you don't remember what you also experienced? This is something crazy. For real. And then he was excusing himself. Oh, please apologize. I want to apologize, Zika. You can make it. I know you can make it because you are my son. This is ridiculous, guys. This is ridiculous. Because when he says, if we talk about Zika, you are the first one not to believe in your kid. So how he's supposed to believe in himself when his father and his mother and his father's friends don't? You are asking too much. You are forcing Zeke to become what he doesn't want to become. And still, are you complaining? For real? You're the first one not believing in him. How is he supposed to believe in himself when he's finding in front of himself parents who don't care about him? how he's supposed to be great when in front of him he has a wall. Look at the theme of a wall. When this story will finish, I told you the theme of a wall. We will discuss about it because there are many different types of walls. This is just a metaphorical wall, but you have to understand the importance of walls in this story. Because Zeke, thanks to his parents, he was not able to be free. And even freedom is another theme that it has many ways of thinking. I mean, you can understand this theme in many different ways. Zeke was not free of thinking. Zeke was not free of playing. Zeke was not free of many other things. He was forced, as much as many other characters we all know. But then the one of the most disgusting scenes is when Zeke for an oh look, he tried one more time. After all the bad things he heard, Zeke, I mean, after all the things that Zeke heard about himself, he decided to try one more time. So he went on the training camp, but the most disgusting face or behavior was that of Grisha. When while Zeke was approving him that he was trying and he wanted to be accomplished by him and he wanted to be praised by him, Grisha is turning and I mean he's going away desperate. You, that's ridiculous. You feel desperate for real? Shouldn't be Zeke the desperate one. That was disgusting to watch. How he disapproves his son in front of everybody. No. He doesn't care that his son is in a difficult situation. He doesn't care that his son he is trying to prove him that he is good enough. And that's already wrong to say. But he's not caring about his son's feelings in front of everybody. He is humiliated by his father. Look, because what's important? The plan. The plan is going to fail. Ah, Zika is not the proper kid. Zika, it seems as if when he's going away, Grisha is feeling as if, that's not my son. I mean, how can my son be like that? I totally dislike this. I disapprove this. But don't you feel dirty, Grisha? I mean, if I were Grisha right now, I would have felt so guilty, so dirty about how I'm behaving with my kid. Because I experienced it already. I mean, Grisha, I experienced it already. How dare you? I mean, and then the psychological violence and abuse Zeke is feeling throughout all this period because he is hearing his father screaming in the next door in the next room about him, and he's crying and he's hearing that he is nothing, that he is not useful, that he's bad, all the worst things that you can say to your son. He's hearing them because he's over there. And Grisha is screaming a lot. Oh, look. Oh, oh I can't stand that. I can't stand how Grisha was torturing his son is something crazy. Not just with the brainwash, with the gestures, with the faces, with the words. When he was screaming, when he preferred to go on with his plan and find a way with this instead of playing with him. Do you remember in season 3, part 2, when Zeke was playing with this tiny monkey, right? That was the last time Zeke was able to play. That was the last time Zeke was innocent for real. Because then he discovered another type of world. But, and then, even in season 3, part 2, when he said, we have someone else, we have our son, Zeke. I mean, since that moment, I felt that something was wrong because from that moment, he was starting to use him as a tool. And that was so bad. I felt so sad. And then Xava demonstrate once again that he can understand Zeke very well because he said, I don't think you want to become a warrior. That's true. He doesn't want to. For real, he doesn't want to become a warrior for real, but he had to do this to be approved by his father, for sure. Absolutely. In fact, he said, I have to become a warrior. That doesn't mean I want. I have to. This is something different. There's a constriction, right? And Xava, he is saying another great thing, in my opinion, even if I have another opinion about Xava too, and I already announced it some minutes ago. But he says it's stupid uh, to have your life being reduced because you have to go to war. Yeah, correct. That's true. I agree. But later we discovered that he has also decided to reduce his life for other purposes. At the beginning, he says because of his researches, but then he explained the real reason why he wanted to reduce his life. So he also reduces his life. But then I connected this with and I said it even in the reaction video, I connected this with episode 1 of this season 4, because when Zeke is transforming and at the end of the episode and he's with Raina, Zeke is saying to Raina, don't you think that war is something stupid or something like that? I mean, he's saying, don't you think that war is pointless? Yeah. And when Xava here is saying that sentence, I said, oh, okay, now I understand where he got that from. I mean, where he got that thought. Because Xava was saying it actually. That's so stupid to become a Titan and to reduce your life for war, or it's stupid to go to war. Yes, that's true. It's really stupid, pointless. And then he said another thing, compared to the mysteries of Titans, war is pointless. That's true. Because sometimes, even in Shingeki no Kyojin, in the previous seasons, they were fighting for something they really didn't get. I mean, they were fighting for things they were sure about, but then those things were confirmed wrong. So we are doing all this for what? If we didn't get in touch with these mysteries of Titans, we are doing this for what? What we did until now probably it was something pointless because it was not something regarding the real mystery of Titans. That could be true too. Yeah. And then Xava is explaining why he decided to become the Beast Titan and what were his decisions at the beginning, because then he's explaining another side of his truth and his story. But he says that he wanted to reduce his life at the beginning because he wanted to see through memories what was this mystery of Titans. Okay, at the beginning you say, okay, at least he did it for a good purpose because he wanted to discover. It's like a little bit as if he's Erwin, right? Because even Erwin wanted to go outside or to go to the basement to reach the truth. So no matter the risks, like in the case of Xava, that he reduced his life, no matter the risks. So that was something important because he wanted to discover the mysteries of something that was about his life too. Um, and look, in this moment, I remember when Zeke was in front of Erwin before the suicide attack, and he was saying, before throwing the rocks, he was saying how stupid they are. They are repeating the same things without understanding. Yeah. Now you see these sentences in a different way because you know Zeke's past. You know that Zeke met Xava who said almost the same things, and you understand why Zeke was thinking something like this. But at the beginning, when we watched the season 3 part 2, we couldn't understand anything about this. We just said, what? We are stupid because we are attacking you just because we were attacked by you? Who's stupid here? Yeah, at the beginning we thought something like this. But now the pieces of the puzzle are connecting finally. So we have a different vision of the entire story in front of us. Thank you, Isayama. I was waiting for this moment for such a long time. Um, um, and then he's saying, we are two great people that, and we don't matter with war. We are something else. Exactly. Exactly. They are different. Zeke is different because he doesn't care about war. He doesn't care to become a warrior. The only thing he cares is to have love, to be surrounded by love. No, he doesn't care about material things either. I mean, he really wants to be dear to his parents and he wants to be surrounded by love. He wants to spend the time with his parents. He doesn't want to become a warrior. He doesn't want to become a superhero. He doesn't want to become relevant to other people. He really wants to be relevant to his parents. He wants to be considered, at least considered. Um, and then, look, by doing this, then he's discovering that someone is investigating this group of people who wants to rebel. And that's why Zeke, another time, he decides to try to connect with his parents somehow. This is the last time that he has the chance to find a connection, to maybe be praised because he discovered something and then he's reporting this to his parents. And if there's a way to save them, maybe he will be praised. Maybe Grisha and Dinah are about to say, "Oh, thank you, Zeke, because you told us this precious info, and you are saving us. You are our hero." No, no, he was trying one more time, but it was useless because it didn't work. It didn't work for real. And look, when Grisha was replying to Zeke, and he said, "So you didn't understand anything from my teaching? I mean, from all the things I taught you?" Well, that was the same. Do you remember when Faye died? And behind Grisha, there was the owl and the other member of the Marley officers. Grisha's father was saying the same. I mean, after they went away, and Grisha said, "Look, Papa, they are saying a mistake. I mean, sorry, they are saying a lie. They are making a mistake. Faye was not killed in that way. Or Faye didn't die because of that. I don't remember the precise sentence right now. But at that time, Grisha was like Zeke. He was trying to have a connection with his parents. So, Grisha, why are you repeating the same mistake by answering like that? You're the same as your father. You didn't learn anything from your past, from their mistake, because you're making the same mistakes. On the contrary, for different purposes, but it's the same. That was terrible to watch. Terrible, terrible. Because when Faye died, I remember Grisha. trying to rebel and trying to say his real opinion about this, as much as Zeke is trying to do right now. Stop doing this, because then there will be a chance that we will go to paradise and we will be killed. And one more time, if I put myself in Grisha's position, I can understand why he's saying, "Don't you understand? We are doing this. We are rebelling because we wanted to save us, and we wanted the same rights for everybody." Yeah, this is nice, but at the same time, how you are trying to reach your purpose, that's wrong. So your ideals are correct and are good, because you want the rights for all the aliens, because you wanted to be treated as all the others, because you want the freedom, because you wanted to be able to go outside those internment zones, or you don't want internment zones anymore. Yes, I agree with you. But how you are doing this is bad. Even even the comparison with that scene, I mean, Grisha with his father and Zeke with Grisha, that even the fact that he had to stay silent and listen, and he had to follow this plan, this is the same. Wow, the same. The structure, I mean, the structure of the scene was the same. And then, wow, this is a great question he asked. Will I be like Faye? I mean, will I have the same destiny as Faye's? Wow, like a bomb. I mean, Grisha exploded in that moment. First of all, he knows that he is guilty. Second of all, he really regrets that day that went outside. So Grisha was touched in his weakest point ever, because he knows that after that moment, all his life became a mess. And Zeke, boom, went straight to the point with one simple question: will I be like Faye? Will I be sacrificed like Faye? I think Zeke heard from his grandpa what happened to Faye, and that's why he replied like this. So, in this story, we understand that Grisha at the beginning was really innocent. He was a kid. He didn't know how big the world was outside, and he didn't imagine that by doing this stupid thing to go to see the Zeppelin, things could have turned into a nightmare, sincerely. And then there is this contrast of innocence and being or become a villain. Because Luca Grisha can be considered as a villain for what he's doing to his kids. This is crazy. And by turning into a victim of the system, he became the bad guy. So as you can see, he started as an innocent guy who didn't imagine that going out spontaneously to follow the Zeppelin could have turned him into something like this, into a slave of the project. Does this mean Eren hates his father too? Probably, because Grisha is the perfect example of how to be a slave of something and forgetting everything surrounding you. That means your family, your kid. Yes, this could be true. Um, then Xava asks Zeke to denounce these parents because they were using him, they were behaving with him in the wrong way, etc., etc. But let me tell you another thing. Um, Also, this can have a double vision. Previously, I was condemning Grisha's selfishness because I was telling you my opinions. They are quite clear, I guess. I don't want to repeat them. But Xava, is he saving Zika because he is selfish too? I mean, later we discovered that Xava thinks of Zika as his own son. I mean, he is trying to replace the son, the daughter he lost with Zika. So is Zika used even by Xava and his selfishness? Or is he used because he knows probably that he can be the only one who can replace him for the Beast Titan? So is Zika really used by everyone here? This could be possible too. I mean, no matter how Xava said the great things to Zika and said and proved to him that he cared definitely more than Grisha, but at the same time he asks Zika to do something. Okay, he's not forcing Zika to do something as Grisha did in the past, but one more time, Zika is asked to do something for other people. In this case, Xava suggested him, to denounce Grisha, to denounce Dinah, and to prove that he is honoring Marley by doing this. But I still believe that Xava did that also because he found another son. He found someone similar to him, and because of his selfishness, he told Zika to do this. Because he was not ready to lose Zika too. After he lost his wife and his kid, he was not ready to lose Zika too. So there's a sort of a selfishness in this behavior too, don't you think? Because at the beginning, Zika said, no, I will never be able to denounce my parents. What are you saying? But later, with the kind words, with the clear explanations, blah, 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 Zika was convinced to do this. So, do you understand what I mean? There is this question mark. I still have to think about more. Of course, if you tell me, was Xava better than Grisha? For some reasons, yes. But we don't have to forget that he was the Beast Titan. So, anyway, even no matter if he was useless in war or not, he was a Titan too. And he was a serving Marle. And also from this reason, this is something wrong too. So everything is wrong in general. Don't you understand? Don't you think so? Um, And by hearing that if he is denouncing his parents, I mean, by hearing Xava's version of things, or by hearing Xava's idea, I think Zika is thinking at the same time, oh look, finally I am important to someone. Finally, someone wants to save me instead of sacrificing myself for their purposes. Finally, someone is thinking about me, my life. So he's seeing Xava in a different way. And finally, we see that scene we saw already in season 3, part 2, when there was a man next to Zeke when he was condemning Grisha and Dinah in front of everybody. Do you remember? In season 3, part 2, you see that there is a shadow behind Zeke while he is denouncing his parents. And now we understand who that person is. But yeah, even Xava is touching those precious thoughts of Zeke in order to convince him you were never being loved, nobody was interested in you, you are a kind person, so that's the proper thing to do, you were used and stuff like that. So even if Xava is correct in what he's saying, but while saying this, he's convincing Zeke to do something else. So every time you see Zeke that he's moved, I mean, he is like a tool in all cases, even if what Xava said was definitely better than what Grisha did throughout all these years. Sure, I'm convinced about that. But do you understand this point of view I'm saying? Um, Even Ksava was using his selfishness to get the Zeke on his side. He didn't want to lose another son. So he put his feelings, his selfish thoughts in advance first, then Zeke himself, or what Zeke really wanted to do for himself or by himself. Okay, now I wanted to make a connection, a really clear connection with the season 3 part 2 and with Eren, Grisha, and Zeke. Because now we can connect with the season 3 part 2. We see what happened next to Zeke, to Grisha, and we see that Grisha admitted his mistakes. He said to Kruger, look, I was a bad father. Oh, yes, you were. Yeah, but why did you realize at the end of the things? Why you didn't realize it before? Just when people are about to die, just when that moment comes, then people realize all the bad things they did. Why you didn't realize it before? I wonder why people realize their mistakes when it's too late. Why? Why? If you remember, at that time when Grisha admitted his mistakes to Kruga, and he explained how bad as a father was, etc., etc., another thing he did was that he didn't want to become the Shingeki no Kyojin. Do you remember? No, 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 no. Now I have to die. Let's say now I have to try. I mean, I don't want it to survive anymore. I don't want it to become the Shingeki no Kyojin. I'm so sinful right now that. Plus, number 3, now we understand why when Kruger wanted to show him his picture, I mean the picture with him, with Zeke and Dinah, he didn't want to look at that. Don't you think? I mean, at that moment, when Kruger was trying to convince him to turn into the Shingeki no Kyojin and to finish this story that he started, Kruger showed him that picture you find in the basement too, but he didn't want to look at it. Because that picture reminds him how bad as a father was, how he failed 2 times. For the second time, he failed to be a good brother because he didn't pay attention on the responsibility he had, because Faye was younger than him and he lost Faye. And number 2, he was failing as a father too. And those failures are so heavy that he doesn't even want to check that picture anymore. Because if he is checking that picture, he remembers all the mistakes that he made. He remembers how regretful he feels right now. And he doesn't want to see Zeke over there because he remembers how bad he behaved with his son. So I think that's why he didn't want to check the picture too. And now we understand why he doesn't want to check that picture. Because thanks to him, thanks to his selfishness, I'm talking about Grisha, of course, he condemned his sister's life, he condemned his wife's life, and even his son's life. Wow, what a terrible person he turned into, right? Just because of the slave of revenge, just because he was a slave of something. And this is something was even better than the rest. I mean, was even more important than the rest. Then Kruger said you have to restart a new life and you have to let someone else inherit this Shingeki no Kyojin. I mean, you have to start a new life and you have to go on and finish this story. So at that point, I definitely think that Grisha changed a little bit because he said, okay, now I have the chance to start a new thing, try to repent myself from what I did. Okay, let's try it. Let's do it. But then he made the same mistakes once again, and he condemned another son. And now I'm telling you how, okay? Because when he reached the Wall Maria, he he didn't remember anything. Do you remember? He didn't. And later he started remembering things. So what he did was to use the same modus operandi. That means the same way to repeat the same mistake. How he did that was asking Eren, why do you want to go outside? Because at that time he already remembered many things. And he heard Eren's reply. So he said, okay. Then he was showing the key, or he was saying to Eren, the next time, let's go to the basement. And he was showing the key. He was tempting his son to get in touch with that basement so much. And he gave him this key later. Then he transformed Eren into a titan, as much as he wanted Zeke to be transformed into a titan and create his plan once again. Yes, Grisha was about to die, so he couldn't finish his story, but that doesn't mean you have to condemn another son for following your plan as always. He didn't change. Grisha didn't change. The plan was always the same. And the reason why he made the same mistakes as before is because after he turned Eren into a titan, and that was already following his plan, because the plan was to let Eren remember, thanks to his memories, what was Grisha's version of the truth. But this Grisha's version of the truth was explained as if it was the truth, the one and only truth. So Eren, by collecting his memories, his father's memories, he thought that what Grisha was doing was the proper thing to do. Because he, in his opinion, what his father was saying was the truth, not just Grisha's truth. So Eren, by seeing all the memories of what happened to Grisha's life, he also thought, as a consequence, oh, my father is right. Now we have to kill all the titans. Now I have to get my revenge. Now we have to fight to gain the same rights, and we have to destroy everyone who thinks the contrary. That's Grisha's plan, okay? That was Grisha's plan, the same plan with the Zeke. The same. So Grisha is making another mistake that is the same. Plus another thing. He wants that Eren reaches the basement. And in the basement, there are the books with Grisha's story, with Grisha's point of view. But those books were confirmed as if they are the truth outside the walls. No, those are Grisha's books. I mean, in those books there is Grisha's story, but that story is spread as if it's the truth. So it's wrong. He wanted Eren to reach the basement, or he wanted to show Eren the basement since the beginning. He wanted to inherit the founding titan, and he did. I mean, Grisha killed Frida. But why did he want to gain this founding titan? To reach his goal, the initial purpose that he had with Zeke too. So Zeke was not able to be used. Let's use Eren. by making him become the Shingeki no Kyojin. He will acquire even the Shiso Titan, etc., etc. And finally, he will be able to reach the goal I couldn't, or Zeke couldn't. Oh, he did the same without brainwashing him directly with the book or by opening in front of Eren the book. He did it in other ways. He did it with his memories inside Eren's mind. That's a way to brainwash anyway a person. With those flashbacks, he created in Eren thoughts, expectations, revenge that are typical of a person that is brainwashed. Because by remembering those flashbacks, Eren is controlled by those memories. So Grisha didn't do anything different, sincerely. He's treating Zeke and Eren at the same thing, in the same way. Grisha is repeating his mistakes over and over again. Maybe in different ways, yes, but I don't see differences. He didn't learn from Faye's destiny and from Faye's thing. He didn't learn from his grandpa, how his father was behaving with him. He didn't understand, or he didn't get it with Zeke and what he did to Zeke. Now he's doing the same things to Eren. And that's why Eren, when he's meeting Zeke, he's saying, look, my father was wrong, and I was raised by him, and I thought things that they are wrong. Yes, because collecting Grisha's points of view, Grisha's memories, you can create your ideas based on those memories. So sorry to say, but Grisha is repeating things over and over again. So as much as he condemned Zeke, he condemned even Eren to sacrifice himself and to die for others. So Eren, even if it's indirectly, but he's another victim of Grisha. So Grisha made some victims in his life, thanks to his ideals. Remember what he told to Grice in season 3, part 2. Look, I don't need to decode the rest. It's obvious that is the truth. Okay, starting from that moment, we understand that Grisha made lots of mistakes. Then we see that the relationship with Xava is increasing more and more, is developing in the best way somehow. And then, wow, Xava is revealing something regarding the Shiso, something regarding the founding Titan. And he's saying that the Shiso can change the anatomy of the bodies of the Yumiru no Tami. That means the Ymir or Yumiru's population, the aliens. Wow. But let me tell you that maybe it's the same thing that happened with Ackerman, because Ackerman too, they are a mutation. I mean, they are special people who were modified. So yeah, then he was talking about this pandemic and the fact that they could survive because the king was using the original Titan, the founding Titan, in order to let them survive. Always, in all the cases. I mean, in the case of a pandemic, they were all saved. So that means that what Xava was saying is that, in his opinion, by not just his opinion, but thanks to his researches, that we still have to understand where did he get those info. I mean, where did he get these researches and how he handled these researches? Because do you remember what Kruger said? There is not an absolute truth to this, but maybe he collected the things thanks to the memories of the previous owners. We don't know, but anyway, I'm curious if they can explain us how Xava made those researches. This could be really interesting to detect, I mean, to understand if what Xava is saying is not just his opinion. I mean, these are not just opinions based on his researches, but these are evidence. I hope one day they will show us. I don't know, but Let's see if what Xava is saying is the truth somehow. But anyway, Xava says that he discovered, thanks to his research, is that aliens are. It's like as if aliens are part of this body structure of the founding Titan. I mean, as if they are, uh, they are. Um, how can I say, incorporated, let's say, in this founding titan, or they are part, extended parts of the founding titan. This is crazy. Wow. And that's why, of course, all the memories of the paradise people could have been changed, because, yeah, this is something else. I mean, this is a plus that the Xava is revealing right now. But okay, now there is finally this plan of Zeke that finally is revealed, because till now we didn't understand. We didn't understand what Zeke was thinking, why he was doing certain things, and all these things, all this stuff. But right now we have an explanation, a clear one, because, and we go back to the beginning of the episode, right? Because thanks to that flashback, we understand that he is referring to the sentence that old man said. That means, why do you keep making kids if you know that you are devils? Wow. I mean, based on that sentence, he made his plan. And when he's asking, okay, so if we use the founding Titan's power to stop them having kids, we can extinguish, we can erase aliens in about 100 years, because they will not have new generations coming, and all those people who are still living, they are about to die anyway, so there is no descendants, no future kids coming. Open a bracket. What about the Historia's kid? Close the bracket. That's why I still believe, and I told you this in one of my theories in the previous episodes, is Historia really pregnant? Because I'm starting thinking, if that's what Eren and Zeke agreed to do, why is Historia pregnant? There is no meaning for that, right? For this reason, this is confirming me maybe that Historia is not pregnant, that she is just faking just to be protected. Or on the other side, maybe he's pregnant and Eren doesn't follow Zeke's plan precisely. He has another idea later. I don't know, that this could be true too, but we are going to talk about it on Thursday for sure. Anyway, going back with the Zeke's plan. Okay, I wrote down all the options. I mean, all the reasons why he doesn't want other aliens to have kids. So this sort of extinction of aliens can be considered a natural extinction, because from aliens' point of view, if they can't have babies, they are not asking Zeke why. I mean, let's be, for example, in Mikasa's point of view. She will not be pregnant anymore, but the more she's going on, she's not guessing, or she's not thinking, oh, I'm not pregnant because Zeke and Eren wanted her to do so. No, it's because she's thinking that is something natural. She couldn't have kids. That's it. Do you understand what I mean? If we check the aliens' point of view, maybe by doing what Zeke and Eren wanted to do, maybe from aliens' point of view, they think, okay, this is something natural. Unfortunately, we can't have kids. But then, if all people can't have kids, this is something suspicious, don't you think? But anyway, why Zeke wants to do this? The kids will not be brainwashed anymore, and they will not be feel under pressure as he was. The kids will not grow, and they will not create other generations with the same modus operandi as Grisha did, for sure. And so this problem will not be spread to the future generations too. Then there will not be the chance to be discriminated, fortunately, and or they will not have to fight to demonstrate, to show other people that they are not bad, but they are all good, as Gabi is trying to do, for example. They will not struggle for a freedom that they are not able to have. This cycling of pain, revenge, and suffering is interrupted if something like this is happening. And then finally, no, then other options. There are other options. For example, the world will be freed from the fear of titans. The world, we will not use aliens anymore to turn them into into titans and to create lots of pain, etc., etc., etc. The aliens, we will not be punished anymore, and they will not be transformed into titans anymore, so they will not have to feel the pain to leave their parents, their families, or they will not have to rebel anymore. I mean, this plan, for some reasons, is it could be correct because of what I told you even at the beginning of these comments and thoughts in other episodes. I told you maybe Eren wants to destroy everything. And once you destroy everything, you erase everybody or you erase everything, you can start a new thing after, because now it's really too difficult to change people's mind, and it's really difficult to handle with this world we have right now. So the rumbling can be used as if it's a way to erase everything, as a tabula rasa. If you know Latin language, you know what this means, and you can start everything from the beginning with other people who are about to survive. But look, Eren, based on episode 13, okay, I still believe Eren doesn't want to kill Mikasa, Armin, and all the others. He really still wants to have someone who is about to survive later. And I don't think he wants to erase everything. I mean, everybody 100%. Otherwise, otherwise I have to go against my feelings when I think that Eren is just lying when he's saying that he hates Mikasa so much and he's hating even Armin. And no, those people have to survive to create something better. That's what I believe. But yeah, this planet Zeke has is based on his own experience, and there is a difference between him and Grisha, because Grisha, no matter what he experienced until now, he is not changing. I mean, Grisha didn't change. He repeated his mistakes in a different ways, but he repeated them. Zeke, on the other side, based on his experiences and the suffering he felt, he wants to change things for real. I mean, he wants to do something that is totally opposite of what everybody believed until now. So he really proves us that from his past, he wants to create something different in the future. Grisha was not doing this. Grisha was experiencing things and then repeating those things that he experienced. Even if he knew that they were bad, he was keeping doing the same things. So nothing could have changed. In the case of Zeke, things are about to change. If the rumbling is starting, things are about to change for real. Then, after Xava understood Zeke's plan, he is finally revealing his family and what happened to his family. Look, this reminds me of Raina and his family, because even Raina was born from a Marleyan father. And in this case, we have the opposite. I mean, Xava was an Eldian and his wife was a Marleyan, whatever. And we discovered the other main reason, I think the one and only reason why Xava decided to turn into the Beast Titan. Not because he wanted to go to war, not because he really wanted to go on with his researches. I think he really wanted to end his life for the mistake he made, because he knew that what he did was creating lots of pain to other people. That means his wife and his daughter and he didn't want, or he's a son. Did he have a son or a daughter? Now I don't remember specifically, but he created lots of pain by hiding his real identity to his family. And when when his wife did what she did, he felt pain. He felt this big regret. And in order to repay what he did, he decided, okay, let me turn into the Beast of Titan and let me have a time limit too. So that's what I deserve for what I did. He punished himself by himself. Okay. Um, but then he's saying something that is quite curious, quite interesting. And he said, if what you say, if what you, Zeke, say is correct, that means if I was not born and you were not born too, there would not have been the chance to meet. There would have not the chance to have fun together. There would have not the chance for me to enjoy this time limit I had. There would have not the chance for me to meet you and to treat you as if you are my son. So what I'm saying now is Zeke's plan is quite evident, quite clear, and I can totally understand his point of view, and I totally understand why he's doing this. But is this the only way for real? I mean, Zeke, think about it. If you were not born, you couldn't have met the reality you were living in. You were not able to develop your person as you are now. You were not able to meet Xava. You were not able to meet your brother too. So, are you sure that what you're doing is the proper thing? I mean, are you sure that by doing this and by not giving other people the possibility to be born is the proper thing to do? I'm saying this because right now Zeke is playing the role of the Almighty. I mean, right now, by doing this or by following his plan, he's behaving as if he is a god. And that's why Yelena is also believing him as a god. But this is wrong because Zeke, you are not God. You are not in the proper position to decide who has to live, who has to die, who has to survive, who doesn't have to survive, who has to be born, who doesn't need to. I mean, I understand his point of view, but at the same time, he is putting himself in a position that he is not, because he can't be the creator of other lives or the destruction of other people's lives. He's not God. So somehow I condemn this. Somehow I understand this. I am in a difficult position right now. But definitely, look, now I'm following even Full Metal Alchemist, and over there too, at the beginning of that story, you see how alchemy is used to create things or to decide to destroy those things, as if people can have the power, like Scar in Full Metal Alchemist. He thinks at the beginning that he has the power to be as God, to decide who has to survive and who has to be killed. In this case, Zeke is doing almost the same thing. And look, I clearly understand why he's doing this. And I'm not condemning him 100%. I'm just saying that, now you're playing the God role as if you're God, because you're deciding for others. You are deciding for others' lives. And then also because you wanted to sacrifice the future that is not certain, because Zeke doesn't know actually what's happening in the future. Because I think only Eren has this power based on what happened to Sasha. Do you remember I told you my ideas? But Do you really want to sacrifice an uncertain future just because you experienced, or many thousands or millions of people experienced what they experienced? Does that mean that even in the future the exact the same things are happening, or there is even a 1% or 5% that can confirm you that things can change in other ways? Who knows? This could be Armin's idea, right? If we follow Armin's idea, we can think that maybe there is always a way to solve things in other way. Then if it's possible or not, this is something different. But I'm just saying this in a different way. I'm just trying to put all the options together and discuss it together with you. I still have to clear my mind. I still have to get my own opinion about this. I'm just putting all the cards I have, all the things I remember from this story, to let you understand the deep point of view that all these characters have, and to imagine this world building and what's going on right now, because this is quite complex, let me tell you. Um, but what Sava is saying, if I was not born, I didn't have the chance to meet you. I didn't have the chance to have fun with you. So is this worth it? I mean, should I believe that if I was not born, that was really the best thing ever? Yes, for some reasons, but even no for others. It depends. It depends. Unfortunately, it depends. Um, and then in another scene, Xaga is revealing to Zeke how to start the rumbling. Because anyway, he understands Zeke's point of view and he agrees with that. And he's saying one thing, he said, you can't use that power. And only the founding Titan can. You will be the key to release this power. Look, let me say to you another thing that is connecting with the beginning of this episode, and is connecting even with Eren and with the theme of the key. Because in the case of Eren, we see that the key was something material. I mean, was the key of the basement. Do you remember? But now Zeke is the key. And Zeke is a person. It's not something material. It's not a tool. But it can be even a tool. Because now he is the key to release this power. So he can be the tool used to release this power. Or another thing I want to say is that Zeke also in this case, he will never be a number one. And this is connecting with the beginning of this live streaming when I told you that Zeke, since the beginning of since his childhood, was always number 2, number 10, and number 20. I mean, other people were number 1. And for this reason, he was always feeling inferior than others because he was not skilled. He didn't have the talent he was supposed to have, thanks to what his parents told him. And even now, he can be useful till a certain point. He's always a number 2. He will never be able to be a number 1. So this is a leitmotif that is repeating throughout all his entire life. He will never be the most important character of this story. He will never be the number 1, because the number 1 is always somebody else. And in this case, Eren, because he has the founding title. But the theme of the key, look, I'm thinking like this. When it's amazing to see how keys are important to this story. It can be a material key, or key as the essential part of something in order to do something else. The theme of the key, very nice, very well developed here. Plus, Xava is saying the founding titan has to be someone who you really trust and someone who will understand how you feel. Now, look, I have a theory. I wanted to tell it now. I want to say it now because it's connected with the episode and it's not connected with the theories for what's happening next. Huh? But let me tell you one thing. It's quite complicated to say, so follow me, please. Kruger said, if you wanted to save Mikasa, Armin, etc., and I told you already that that sentence, in my opinion, is said by a future Eren or someone that is connected to Eren somehow, and he's from the future. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to know Armin and Mikasa and all the others, right? So Kruger gave to Grisha the possibility to create a new family, to go on with his project, to give the power to Eren, because he saw it from the future somehow, or someone was speaking for him, and someone was saying, if you wanted to save Mikasa, Armin, and all the others, go on. So Eren or someone next to Eren from the future is telling Kruger to say this sentence. So Grisha is creating his new life. He is giving the power to Eren. And Eren is becoming the founding titan. And Zeke now has a person he can trust because it's his brother and he's experiencing the same things that he experienced already. So he understands how he feels. So Zeke, after what happened to Grisha with Kruger, Zeke was staying over there in Marle, and he was about to become the Beast Titan. He had the royal blood. So is this all projected, not by Kruger, okay, but the person who was talking through Kruger in that moment when he said, if you wanted to save Mikasa, Armin, and all the others, go ahead. Do you understand what I mean? So all this was already connecting since that moment. Because the person Zeke can trust is Eren, that is his brother. But at the same time, Zeke has the royal blood and Eren has the founding titan. And Eren can understand Zeke because he experienced the same things. So was Eren guiding everything from the future? It could be. Because that, thanks to that sentence to Kruger, everything developed in the way that the two Jaeger brothers would have met later and would have agreed with what happened to them in order to start the rumbling. This makes a F sense. Yeah, I believe so. At this point, I believe so. Hope you understand what I meant. If you didn't, tell me in the comments below after this live streaming is finished, and you will let me know your thoughts. And then he says, yes, Father, I will find it. I mean, I will find this person who has the founding titan to start what we have to do. And when he said that, Father, it makes you understand how Zeke didn't consider Grisha as his father and how he considered Xawa his own and his one and only father he had. This is a beautiful message somehow, because a father is not a person who creates you and that's it. A father is a person who cares about you, who spends time about you, who knows you, who gets in touch with you, who cares about you, who loves you deeply. So most of the time, we see that biological fathers are not representing exactly the figure of the father we really want. Other people can be better father than biological fathers sometimes. So this is a clear example. See? And then when Zeke discovers about Eren and about Jaeger, about the fact that Grisha was a doctor, and he understands that that's him. And now I understand the sentence when he said in season 3 part 2, next time I will meet you, I'm going to save you. Wow. It's like when we heard the anticipation of a season four. I mean, the final season. Eren, onegai, kaite kite. At that time, I thought something else, and then in season four, we saw that Mikasa said that precise sentence in another moment that I've never believed that it was happening. And here too, now everything is connected. He wants to save him from the fact that Grisha was telling him a story, but Eren didn't know the other side of the story. Because, as always, we based all these three seasons on Grisha's truth. We were not basing our thoughts and comments based on the truth. We were basing everything based on Grisha's story, Grisha's truth. And we were making a mistake because we should have thought what Kruger said. There is not an absolute truth. Since that moment, we had to understand that something was wrong. We had to understand that we don't have to follow precisely what Grisha said just because Grisha said, or just because Grisha is convinced about that. We have to understand all sides of this story in order to get our own opinion about this. And this is what happened with the season four. We were confused. We were tricked most of the time. And it worked. It really worked. It was awesome. Um, wow, then when when he's meeting Eren, finally we understood what they said. Yeah, that was amazing to see because I was waiting for this moment so much. And the first thing he said, "You look like your father." I mean, you look like father. Yeah. Yes, Eren looks like Grisha a little bit, especially because now he has long hair. Yeah. And we understand that he is remembering the moment in which he was kissing Historia's hand in season 3, part 2, because he's saying 4 years ago, I was happening to collect some memories from my father, and I saw that my father killed the entire race family. So I connected. That was the moment, okay? Um, And then Eren says if the kids were still alive, they would have taken the founding titan one more time from me. I mean, from Grisha. I mean, from me because I owned this, right? But at the same time, their death saved us. I mean, their deaths helped us becoming what we are now, and they made us reaching this moment in which we can save Eldia for real. So also in that case, see, if they were not born, probably Zeke and Eren would have not been over there right now talking. So as you can see, and then he admits, for real, my father made a mistake. I mean, he made mistakes, and I also made mistakes by following what he said because Eren as a child or Eren as a teenager, of course he believed what the memories of his father said because it was his father. Yes, he was kinder to Eren. He was, I mean, Grisha was kinder to Eren. He paid more attention on Eren than Zeke, but at the same time, he repeated the same mistakes over and over again in a different way. And thanks to Grisha's memories, Eren was convinced that what he was doing was the proper thing just because he was following what he thought he was the truth without considering other people's experiences, without understanding what was outside of the wall. In the first seasons, he was just following what those flashbacks were telling him. If we were not being born, we didn't have to suffer like this. Yeah, sure, for sure, absolutely. And then he says it was better not to be born. Okay, because as I told you, I totally understand why they are saying this. If we check Zeke's life and if we check Gabi's life, if we check all characters' life, is full of a pain for sure. Pain and suffering, definitely. And if we check Eren's story, Eren's what happened? Look, at this point, even Carla didn't have to suffer like this if she was not being born. Yeah, sure, sure. And then he says, I will finish the story of 2,000 years. Do you remember the title of the first episode? To you after 2,000 years. To you, I think it's Yumiru or Ymir talking. And that to you, it refers to Eren after 2,000 years. Maybe. I don't know. Or to you, or on the contrary, to you is referring to Eren is talking and he says, to you, Yumiru or Ymir, after 2,000 years. I still have to understand. Is Eren talking or is Yumiru Ymir talking? I think the second one. Maybe the most probable is that Eren is talking to Yumiru or Ymir, and that to you is Eren saying to Ymir, to you after 2,000 years. That means I found a way to end everything you created. That could be, that can make sense actually. Okay. Um, then when Eren says, isn't it right, brother? Now I want to tell you one thing. If Zeke wouldn't be born, yes, on one side he wouldn't have suffered, he wouldn't have felt pain, but he wouldn't even have to hear brother. So are you sure, Zeke, you didn't want to be born? Because when he heard the brother, he cried. And he cried because it was the first time that he heard this word that makes you think of a family. It was the first time that someone was relying on him as if he is an important person, as if he has a great responsibility, as if he is an older brother. So it's also the first time that it's a direct reference to family, something that he was always searching for, something that he was always dreaming of. So, Zeke, are you sure it was pointless to be born or that it was meaningless to be born? I think in your case, if you cried, it means that by hearing that word, that means brother, you were so happy. And I don't think you should regret that moment when you felt happy for real, when someone called you a brother. So as you can see, I understand what he wants to do, and I understand that in his past life, throughout his entire life, he felt as if it was better not to be born. But when you have the chance to reach the love you have always wanted to feel and to reach those words you have always wanted to hear, that was not pointless to be born. It was amazing to be born. Do you understand my opinion? I hope you can. Um, but I think he's crying also because he feels sorry for Eren, because he knows that it was not because of him that right now he's in that position, And it's not because of him that now he has a huge burden to carry. And he feels sorry because he has to sacrifice himself and they don't have the chance to stay alive and to be brothers, to enjoy life together as if it should be. So this reaction Zeke has is made by mixed feelings he feels in that moment. He is happy because he hears brother, and it means I belong to a family. I was not alone throughout all this time. I belong to someone, and that someone is my brother Eren. So I think that tear is a tear of joy for some reasons because this evidence that he belongs to a family right now. He has that evidence. And that tear is also a tear of sorrow and pain or sadness because he knows that they are both going to die, that they are both going to be sacrificed, and they will never have the chance to spend the time together anymore after what's going to happen. Or that a tear is also a tear of joy because finally they can be free by dying. I mean, as I told you in previous comments and thoughts, I really believed that what Eren was searching for, yes, was freedom, but what sort of a freedom was that freedom he was searching for? Is the freedom of feeling nothing. Because when you die, you don't feel pain anymore. You don't feel sadness anymore. You don't feel anything. You don't feel a regret. You don't feel anything. So Eren or Zeke are searching that sort of freedom. Because after they die, they don't have to remember anything wrong that happened to them. They don't have to remember what happened to them. Specifically, Eren doesn't have to remember that his mother died in front of his own eyes and many other things. So that is the freedom they want to search for. But at the same time, I think Zeke feels sad because now that he had the chance to have a person who agrees with him, that means Eren, and now that he has in front of him his own brother, his real brother, he feels sorry because I think he really wanted to live next to him and to create the family they have never had somehow, or the family Zeke has never had, because Eren was loved by Carla for sure. By Grisha, yeah, but as I told you, there was always that plan working in his mind. But yeah, he was loved by Carla, definitely. Yeah. After all this, then there is this ball thrown. I mean, Zeke is throwing this ball to Eren. But let me tell you one thing. If you remember, I don't think it has a deep connection with this, but I felt strange because when Zeke is throwing this baseball ball, it reminds me when there is the portrait, do you remember, of this girl that is giving the apple to this sort of a demon, and I think that's Ymir or Yumiru that is giving this apple. In the same way, we see Zeke giving this baseball ball to Eren, as if it's another sort of a pact they seal after they decide what to do. As much as Yumiru or Ymir was giving this apple, I think, yeah, in front of this demon to create this pact of power. I don't understand if you understand what I mean. I mean, I don't understand if you got what I mean, but I think you understand. Yeah. Then we go back to this final scene where there is Levi and Zeke, and Zeke more or less is saying, look, I was not killing them. I was not killing your comrades. I was about to save them because I was saving all the new generations coming. And I was freeing them from suffering and pain. But you, Levi, don't understand this because you are following what you found in those books written by Grisha, and you follow your thoughts because you were born here, but you don't understand the rest of the world. You don't understand my experience. You don't understand what's going on outside. Yeah, he's right, but I understand Levi too because without those books, without the Grisha's books, and without that basement thing, anyway, Levi had to lose precious people too, and it's not his fault that he was born over there. Levi experienced bad things too, and I understand both sides right now. Yeah, definitely. At the beginning, I was thinking to understand more Levi's point of view, but now that I have a clear vision of what happened and I have the clear vision of what Zeke's plan is based on what happened, this is becoming intense and complex, but I really like this because the more things are complex and not easy to detect, the more I love this story for sure. And then when he finally at the end said, Xava, I hope you're looking at me right now. Yeah. Because Xava said, I will always be by your side, Zeke, and I will always looking at you. Did he kill Levi? Don't tell me that. No. I think Levi is still alive. Please let me think like this. I don't want to use the tissues next week. I really hope Levi is still alive. I really hope that. I really, really hope that. Because, okay, there are two things. Or Levi is alive and I'm happy, or part two, Levi is dead and I will cry for sure. Because no matter if Levi doesn't understand Zeke, I still feel sorry about Levi's existence too. I still feel sorry about his entire life too, and the pain he had to hide because he was not the person who wanted to show his feelings too. So when Zeke is saying, actually, do you remember when he was sitting and he was reading that book and he was saying to Levi, don't pretend to know other people's feelings. Okay, now I got it. I understand Zeke when he says like that. But at the same time, I think Zeke has to understand that Levi's pain too. Even if it's not detectable from his face, that doesn't mean he doesn't feel anything. I think Levi felt lots of pain in his life, especially when since he was a child. So maybe at the end of the day, they have lots of things in common. Who knows? But yeah, and then there is this explosion. I hope, look, I finished all of my notes. But definitely, I hope Levi is still alive and he's not dead. Oh, I was imagining this in my theories for the future. I was imagining that Levi could be dead, but no. He can't die until he is fulfilling his promise to Erwin, in my opinion. That's the only thing he is missing. I mean, that's the only reason why Levi wants to be still alive. Because after that promise, if he will be able to fulfill that promise, Levi can die. In his opinion. I mean, I think in Levi's own opinion, after he can kill Zeke, then there's no other reason to be alive. He just wants to keep that promise so much. But look, I don't want him to die. No, no. In this story, they are all victims. There are no heroes. There are no superheroes. There are not anti-heroes. There are just victims. Wow. Okay. I think now I finished my comments and thoughts. Sorry, it's quite long. It's a 3 hours. I'm sorry for that. But this episode was full of info, was full of developments of characters and of plot, and it was really important. Look, I feel so sad because many people, many fans of Attack on Titan are following Attack on Titan just when there are actions or just when there are climax. I mean, moments in which you, whoa, yeah, and they stop following the story when everything is explained or there are some developments of the plot. This is so sad. I feel so sad for these people who don't follow Attack on Titan, especially because of the story. Because I think the plot of Attack on Titan is the best thing ever that this story has. I mean, if you follow Attack on Titan just because of actions or just because of battles, you are wrong, in my opinion. I mean, you missed the point. You should follow this story specifically because of the plot, because of the story, and because of how intricate, how mixed, and how complex this story is. This is a real journey. People start believing something, but then they are regretting the things they believe. They are changing opinions. They are making mistakes by guessing what's going on in this story. This is the most interesting thing. So I hope people should reconsider all these four season part one because it's like a season three part one. It helps you understanding what's going on for real and what should be important to the story. Yeah, the actions, I mean the battles, yeah, we find them in all shonen, battle shonen. So it's not something relevant at this point because otherwise all shonen are the same. But the good thing of Attack on Titan is no matter the battles, the story is important. I mean, the story can make a shonen great because otherwise it's all a repetition of the things we have already seen, of the things we already know. Yeah, it's a battle shonen, but that doesn't mean that it has to be poor just because there are battles involved and that's it. No, this story is blowing my mind, and this story is something beyond everything I saw till now. And this is amazing because Isayama is not good because of his drawings, probably, or because he wanted to create another usual battle shonen, but his greatness is based on how he developed his story and how he developed his characters, how he developed the world building of this story. And this is something personally, yeah, I've never seen before. Even if, yeah, I'm following Full Metal Alchemist and I am already on episode 30, even if you are seeing other episodes, I mean, the first episodes, I am already recording all the episodes of that too. But sincerely, the complexity of this story is something else. And wow, all victims, all victims. There are no goods and bads. There are no pros and cons. There are just victims of this cruel world. But let me tell you, I still believe that there is not a cruel world only. There is even a beautiful side of the world. And I hope they will find a way to destruct and regenerate because that's the opening. That's what the opening is saying. Even if then destruction and regeneration, you are the real enemy. But the world has to survive somehow. And we will see how. Definitely. I think Mikasa is going to leave and she's going to go on. as much as Armin. Even if Armin will still have a time limit, but he still has time to spread the good things, this time for good. I still hope that people can survive. But let's see how, and let's see in which way they go on. This will be really interesting at the end. Okay, let me read your comments, even if they are so few. Hello from Brazil, of your thoughts and points of view about Shingeki no Kyojin. Thank you, Helly. Hi, Vincent. Hello. After episode 16, you needed to read the manga. Part 2 will come out 3 or 4 years later. Who told you that? You're not sure. Don't spread the things when you're not sure. Grisha should have told you this already. Huh? Don't say things like that. I don't need to read the manga. Even if I have to wait 3 or 4 years, as you say, but there is no confirmation about that, I don't need to read the manga. I can wait. Why you guys can't wait? I can wait. Of course, if you are a manga reader, you already know the end of the story. So why do you suggest to me to read the manga if I can wait? Plus, don't I suggest you don't spread the fake news or don't spread the news that are still not confirmed yet, because it's pointless. Just wait next week and see what's going to happen about what's coming next. But sincerely, I don't think it will take 3 or 4 years to see the part 2 or a movie because it's too long. And Shingeki no Kyojin, the manga, is finishing next month, so it will never happen, in my opinion. Let's see what's going to happen. Hola, hola, Hector. Okay, I think for this huge and infinite live streaming, that is it. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you understand my thoughts. Or if you disagree with my thoughts, that's fine. That's fair. You can write your personal thoughts and comments about this episode here in the comments below after this live streaming is finished. Don't worry, because I will come back on Thursday with the rewatch of 2 episodes in a row, plus new theories for what's happening in the future too. And don't write spoilers, because I don't need them. Also because they are automatically deleted, so I don't even watch them. Do you understand? I don't even read them. So it's pointless for you to waste your time to write spoilers that I'm not going to read. And see you next time, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with Fullmetal Alchemist, episode 8. See you the day after tomorrow with the 2 rewatch plus theories. See you on Friday with the last episode of The Promised Neverland 2. See you on Saturday with the last episode of Jujutsu Kaisen plus episode 25 of Dragon Quest. And see you on Sunday with the last episode of this part 1, let's call it like this, I like it, of season 4 of Shingeki no Kyojin. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for watching me. Thank you for all your support. Thank you so much as always. Bye. See you next time.